Hello and welcome to Martin Maths. We're doing some more Maths GCSE preparation videos, and this one we're looking back at the June 2023 Higher Paper 2. Okay, so this is a calculator paper. I'm going to start with question 1, and it says work out the value of 25 minus root 43.87 over 6 plus 2.1 squared. Now, I used to answer these questions by putting a bracket and doing the top, and then dividing by the denominator's answer and doing that separately. But the calculators now should have a function where they can do all of that in one step. So if you enter it correctly, 25 minus root 43.87, make sure that the square root is over the correct part. 6 plus 2.1 squared, make sure you're just squaring the 2.1. So you should have exactly that. Again, you could do it separately. You could put brackets around that to make sure. I could do that if I wanted to be sure that it's correct. But that should be fine. And then you can answer 1.765. Now it says write down all the figures, so it's not to one decimal place or three significant figures. It wants all the figures on your calculator display. Some calculators might have less or more than that. So 1.76527923. Okay, that should get you the 2 marks there. Right, now it says work out the value of the reciprocal of 0.625. The reciprocal means 1 over 0.625, so there's 2 ways you could do this. 0.625 is actually a fraction, so that's 5/8. And what we want to do is invert that. So I want to do 1 divided by. Remember, your calculators have this answer button, so it keeps the previous answer. And then it's, so 1 over 5/8 is 8 over 5. You can press the SD to get to 1.6, which is the answer. So I've jumped around a bit there. So that is the reciprocal of 5/8 is 0.625. So you could do that in a couple of ways. I could either do 1 divided by 0.625 and get 8/5, or I could have done 0.625 as a fraction. Okay, let's move on to writing 60 as a product of prime factors. I've got lots of shorts on these and videos, so have a look on my channel. What they want to do is use a factor tree, and it doesn't matter which factors you actually divide by at the start. I can do 12 and 5, that's prime, so I'll stop there. 2 is prime, get me 6, 2 again, and 3. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12, times 5 is 60. So 60 equals 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Or I can write it as 2 squared times 3 times 5. And that'll get us those 2 marks. Again, have a look on my channel for some shorts and videos on that. Okay, there are 48 counters in a bag. There are only red counters and blue counters, and red to blue is 1 to 2. Helen has to work out how many red counters are in the bag. And she says there are 24 red counters in the bag because 1 is half of 2 and 24 is half of 48. She's correct. 1 is half of 2 and 24 is half of 48, but she's not correct here. So the answer is no. And the reason is that she's confused ratio and fraction or proportion. That ratio there is just a comparison. It doesn't actually have the total. The total is adding those parts together. So if you have a look at my other videos and shorts about ratio and proportion, you'll see, especially sharing amounts, we can split an amount into that ratio. The total is when you add those parts together. So in fact, red is a third, not a half, because blue is 2/3, and it's the comparison of 1 to 2 there. So in fact, they haven't asked for this. It's only a 1 mark question. I'm going a bit beyond the question here. It'll be 16 to 32, not 24, because then the ratio being 1 to 1. Okay, a little bit beyond the question there, but it's a nice one to explain. So the answer is definitely no. Okay, inequalities here. Again, I do have a short that I posted very recently on inequalities. -2 less than, so that's important to see, it's less than or equal to, and just less than 5. So n lies between -2 inclusive and 5 not inclusive. So write down the greatest possible value of n. So we're going from -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but not 5. So the greatest possible value would be 4. Now we've got to show this inequality, -4 less than or equal to m less than 1 on this number line. Again, it's less than and equal to there, which means a closed circle, but just less than there, so just an open circle. So at -4, I'm going to have a closed circle because it includes that, and at 1, +1, an open circle, and then draw a solid line there. Okay, so we're including that, but not including that. That 1, up to and inclusive. Up to, but not including. Right, solving now with an inequality. So solve it just the same way you would an equation. 2/5 g -4 less than 6. So as long as I'm not multiplying or dividing by -1, I do the same balance method that I would do with an equation. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. 2/5 g less than 10. Then I multiply by 5. So those would cancel. And then multiply here by 5. So those cancel. 2g is less than 50. Then I'm going to divide through by 2. G is less than 25. And I can test that with a number that is less than 25. Say, easiest one is 0. Is -4 less than 6? Yes. So, looks like it's right there. Okay, there's a nice 6 marks in that question. If I'm moving too fast, do pause the video. I think on some screens you can actually go to you can change the pace of the video as well. So you can speed it up or slow it down to suit yourself. Question 5, here's a triangle and a rectangle. All measurements are in centimeters. The area of the triangle is 10 centimeters greater than the area of the rectangle. I'm going to work out the value. So the area of the triangle is equal to the area of the rectangle plus 10 centimeters squared. So the area of the triangle is half base times height, half times 8 times 6x, and the area of the rectangle is length times width. So that is just length times width. That is half base times perpendicular height, and they have given us a right angle there. So 5 times 4x minus 1. So I'm going to cancel some factors. 2 gives me 4, so I have 24x there. Expand the bracket there. Plus the 10. 20x minus 5 plus that 10. Okay, so that's that extra 10 that I needed. So 24x equals 20x plus 5. Subtract 20x on both sides. 4x equals 5. So x equals 5 over 4, or 1.25 centimeters there. Okay, nice mixture of algebra and geometry there. Right, it's a nice 4 marks together. I could write the final answer there. A reminder, this video is only going to go up to question 10, and then look out for future videos to finish the rest of the paper. Last year, a family recycled 800 kilograms of household waste. 57% of this was paper and glass, and paper to glass was 12 to 7 ratio. So we've got to calculate the weight of the glass. Now, that doesn't sum to 800. That sums to 0.57 of 800. I haven't actually used the calculator for a few questions, so let's bring that in. 0.57 times 800 is 456. So 456 I need to share into paper and glass. I'm going to add 12 plus 7 is 19 parts. This, if you look at my ratio videos, I know that bar models is a way that some people like to teach it, but also just the steps of 1, adding, 2, dividing the 456 into those 19 parts. So again, we've got a calculator, so let's use it. 24. So 24 kilograms is 1 part. And then the third step is multiplying up into that. So this one I add, this one I divide, this one I multiply. So now I'm going to do 24 times 12, 288, and 24 times 7 is 168. And just to confirm that those two add up to the total, 456, then I know that's correct. But to answer the question, calculate the weight of glass. That's 168 there. So 168 kilograms of glass were recycled by this family. Okay, a number D is rounded to 1 decimal place. The result is 12.7. Calculate the error interval. So here I need any number that we rounded up to 12.7, and here any number that we rounded down. So I need to think into the second decimal place. So 6.5, because anything from there and bigger would be 12.7, and here 12.75, not including that 7.5, just up to that point. Okay, Tamsin buys a house with a value of 150,000, and the value of the house increases by 4% each year. Rachel buys a house with a value of 160,000 pounds, and the value of her house increases by 1.5%. So it's a lower rate, but a bigger starting amount. So at the end of 2 years, whose house has the greater value? So I'm going to work out Tamsin, year 1, and then year 2, and Rachel, year 1 and year 2. So I'm going to, in my calculator, 150,000 times 1.04. So 150,000 times 1.04 gives me 156,000 pounds. Now I'm going to keep that answer, a useful button, and times it by 1.04 again. And I get 162,240 in year 2 for Tamsin. So that's the number to compare. Meanwhile, Rachel, 160,000 times 1.015. After year 1, so I'll write here the steps to show my working, because I must show how you get your answer. 1.015 is 162,400. And then again, that answer times 1.015 gets me 164,836. I could write in that step 162 just so the examiner knows exactly what I've done. And here it was 156 times 1.04. So there I can say that Rachel's house has the greater value, because 164,000 is bigger than 162,240. Okay, 2 more questions in this video, and then I will make the next one as soon as I can. The cumulative frequency table gives information about the ages of 80 people. So that number there is cumulative, that's why it's called cumulative frequency. So that's the total. Working for a company. On the grid opposite, draw a cumulative frequency graph for this information, and then we have to find an estimate for the median from that graph. Okay, so what we do is we go to the end point of that category, because we know that by that age we have all those individuals. So this is the age. So I go to the end of that interval, which is 30, and I go and plot a point there. End of that age interval is 40. I have 48. So I have 45, 48, at the end of this interval at 50, because it's all of the people from 20 to 50 have 64. And then 75 up to 60. We've nearly got everyone involved. And then there are just a few more people who are up to 70 years old. So up to 70 have all 80. And we should see this kind of nearly S-shaped curve. And then you should draw it with a freehand, preferably with a pencil. I'm just using a pen for this video and should go through all those points. I've missed that one there. Okay, and that would complete your cumulative frequency graph or curve. Now we have to use this to find an estimate for the median. Now there are 80 in total, so I know it'll be the 40th person. So if I just look at it here, I only have 20 there, but then I've got 48. So I'm expecting somewhere in that interval between 20 and 40. Let's look at this curve. There's 80, there's 40. So I'd read across, and that's why I had to redraw that, and then read down, and I have 37 as mine. And they'd normally give you a range. If you have a look at the mark scheme, the official mark scheme, you can have a range of 1 or 2 years because everyone's curve might be slightly different. Okay, last question for today. It's a probability question. A biased dice is thrown 60 times. The table shows information about the number that the dice lands on each time, and you can see these numbers are all quite different. Ordinary fair dice, they should be more equal. That's double that, so it does look quite biased. Work out an estimate for the probability that the dice will land on 6 both times, because Gethin throws the dice twice. So probability of 6 and 6 is 15 out of 60 times 15 out of 60. I'm going to simplify that. I could plug that into the calculator, but that's a quarter, and that's a quarter. So it's a quarter times a quarter, which is 1/16. Now Sally is going to throw the same dice n times and record the number it lands on each time. She'll use her results to work out a more reliable estimate for the probability in part A, so compared to what Gethin did. What can you say about the value of n? So to be a more reliable estimate, the greater the number does usually lead to a more reliable estimate, so it needs to be greater than 60. So greater than n, e.g., I don't know, 600, but that would take a long time. Sally's n must be greater than, sorry, not greater than n, greater than 60. So Sally's n must be greater than the 60 thrown there. So some large number there. Okay, we're going to stop there for now. That's questions 1 to 10 in the June 2023 paper 2 higher tier paper with the calculator. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Have a look out for more of the shorts, and good luck with your maths.